Maryland Legislative Sportsmen's Foundation, the DNR Wildlife, and the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation decided to explore the possibility of reintroducing the Rocky Mountain elk into Western Maryland, the 3 Western Maryland counties. At the very beginning of the process, back in, I believe in November 2011, those 3 entities came and spoke with the county commissioners in Garrett County. And at that time, the county commissioners wrote a pretty strong opposition letter for this issue. The study is to include 3 components. The first component is an opinion survey. The opinion survey was conducted as a phone survey this spring by a private response management company. And of course, the folks that were surveyed across the state of Maryland were very much in favor of reintroducing the elk. Sure, we'd like to come and visit and watch the elk in Garrett County or Western Maryland. This fall, there was a public meeting held in Cumberland. It was the Friday of the Sandy storm, so I still didn't have power, but I went down to this meeting at 8 in the morning to hear more about the issue and to learn why that they would be interested in doing this. I was concerned that the survey didn't really ask. The most critical part that I would think of being a landowner is what you use the land for. If you're a farmer, if you have a timber operation, if you just have a hunting preserve on your land. And that question wasn't asked in that initial survey, so I offered I was getting ready to send out a newsletter to my mailing list of agriculture and natural resources businesses in the county, in and around the county. And I offered to send out the survey with a few added questions. I initially sent the survey out to my mailing list of ag and natural resources businesses, and that's almost 700 people on that list. We've gotten about 115 of those returned, and only about 14 of those have been either slightly positive or very positive about the issue. So the concerns that were listed in the meeting were vehicle collisions, crop damage, disease, expense of the effort, and there's already an overpopulation of deer in the area and the damage that those provide. The positives that they most cited were tourism impacts, such as people coming to either view, photograph, take hikes to watch, to stay in a bed and breakfast and wake up to the bugling of an elk, to stop and watch a baby calf nursing from its mother. They cited that eventually perhaps hunting of the elk would be offered. The lowest number of years that I've seen is 10 to reach what they called full population and be able to start managing the herd using hunting or whatever means. So, best case scenario, it looks like about 10 years. At that point, I'm assuming that they'll do, because there'll be such a limited herd and only one area of the state, I'm assuming they'll do what they do with the bear hunt, and, that is have a lottery. They have a certain number that would be allotted for the Western Maryland folks, and then the rest would be around the state. So, nobody has said that.
There's no official word.
It's
but
a little
you're
early.
Guessing anywhere from 10 to 15 years before any sportsman would even get a chance to hunt the creature. So.
I would assume that based on other areas.
Okay.
I was able to look at the results of the West Virginia study. They did a similar study to the one they're doing in Western Maryland currently. And looking at that, there were 3 areas designated as possible places to introduce the elk. The best possible place was the Monongahela National Forest. The Monongahela National Forest. It's Monongahela County. So the best possible place in West Virginia was designated as the Monongahela National Forest. And of course, that national forest is over 900,000 acres. Pretty much contiguous, and it also abuts on the border to the Shenandoah National Forest in Virginia. So you've got a very large contiguous area to introduce the elk. In Garrett County, our state lands, we don't have very much federal, but our state lands are our state parks and forests and the wildlife areas. And if you look at a map of those areas, they are not contiguous. There are 3 areas of the county, and within those areas there are large portions of private land, and in a lot of those cases that private land is farmland. So, Garrett County itself is only 400,000 acres plus and minus. So, we're talking about a very small population of elk, if any, as well as they are definitely not going to be able to stay in the state forests. We asked what the elk eat in this public meeting, and they're grazers. They eat grasses and some small shrubs and that kind of thing. They don't eat trees like deer do in the winter to stay alive. And if you think about the state lands in Garrett County, those are state forests. So in order to create food plots to keep the animals in the areas where they reintroduce them, I can see no other way to do it but to cut down trees in the state forest, clear cut, to plant food plots so that the animals stay there. Otherwise, they're going to have to go find food where they can, which would be our farmlands, our golf courses, our lawns, anywhere that they can.